as I understand it, if the board votes to have this resolution, there's nothing that anyone can do about it, except to move it forward. Now,
Dan,
yes,
I can think of no greater waste of money for a strapped agency to spend $600,000
as I
over
said,
this issue.
as I said before, that's a wild guess, and I don't believe that it will stand the test of time.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, I have lots.
This is not a standalone election. This $660,000 is based on a standalone election. This is an election that would be incorporated into an election for 3 trusteeships, hopefully not, superintendent, and governor, and all kinds of items that will come up in the November election. How do they say a standalone when we know it's not a standalone?
What they mean by that is that it's foreseeable that the superintendent position would not be contested. It's also foreseeable that board members will run uncontested. Therefore, we would, as a county office, be committed to a share of the election cost, which is calculated at $655,000, if only this item moved forward with respect to the slate. So in other words, by agreeing to move this thing forward, we would be committing the agency to that expense, regardless of what happened to the other positions. So essentially, we would be committed to that cost. And then there would be an incremental cost. There would be some incremental, say it's shared with the other elected positions. There would still be an incremental cost associated with this particular item. Is sort of the.
Well, I don't believe that. And, it's not that I don't believe you, I don't believe that estimate. I believe that it's a wild guess. It's based upon speculation. It's based upon a lot of things that will or may not happen in the future. Whether or not we have opponents for the 3 positions here, whether there's an opponent for the superintendent's position. The legal opinion put forth by that firm, that I can't think of the name of the 3 people that are involved, you know the one I'm talking about. Anyway, they seem to believe that once this item is brought up, that once the people have spoken and say and decided to elect rather than appoint, that's frozen in time, and that's not the case, because we had 3 elections after the 1978 election, although each election resulted in the failure of appointing, still there was an election, right? That means that the idea of holding an election is not frozen out forever. It can be applied each and every opportunity that presents itself, and those opportunities are presented by the gubernatorial election year, which is this year. So I don't see the argument that legal firm has. I think they were not only self-serving, they were serving the interests of the superintendent. And why should the superintendent and his staff, any members of the staff that are involved in this, why should they be so concerned about not having an election, not putting it forward, and using a wild guess $655,000 possible cost for this as an excuse? What does the superintendent and his staff that are involved in this have against holding a free election, allowing the voters to express their will?
Can I get clarification? When you said there were 3 other succeeding elections, it was in this county?
No, well, let's see. The counties that were involved were Orange County, Riverside County, and San Mateo County.
Yeah, but did they have, after they've decided on the issue, did they have the same issue brought back in the ballot? After the...
It's in the 80s. It's in my paper. It's in the 80s.
Which county is that?
And those and many more in the 80s put it on the ballot. And my question is, how did they do that? issue, and one of them used it with the code that everybody's using for gubernatorial race, that code. And so I have more comments than that, though.
Were any of them successful?
No,
No.
none have been successful in the 80s. But they were able to put it on the ballot. And I think the question is, how could we put it on the ballot? Even if we decide not to, I'd like to learn how we could put it on the ballot. What's being referred to what this opinion to Dr. Ovick in August 30, 2010 that we're reading here insinuates the only processes recommended is through the initiative process. And so our timeline is gone to do the initiative process, in my point of view. Now, you could do it in a general or a primary election in the future, but if you want to stick to do it during the gubernatorial like they originally did, then the question has to be answered, how come it's so difficult for us? How did these other counties, I haven't researched it, I haven't called them. I called Orange County Election Department and they didn't call me back. So how could you put this on? What was your, what supported you to be able to put it on? So I think that question is answered, and I think that my documentation here will assist in researching some of it further, because there were many